Welcome to the Enneagram with Chelsea and Nicole. This is a positively deviant culture podcast anchored in the Enneagram. Today, we're kicking off a new series related to the type 7. Before we get into that, we have a quick reminder.
Every episode, I want to remind listeners that this isn't a prescriptive, fixed tool, and that our conversations are designed to work with the material and the ideas in an exploratory way. As long as I've been working with the Enneagram, my knowledge and application continues to evolve, and that's what we're here to do, is to keep learning.
Today, we're going to begin with the core brilliance of the type, which we always do. And for those of you who are entering the podcast in this place, we want to just give you a quick reminder about what the core brilliance is and the reason that we're focused on it first and foremost.
The core brilliance is an area that we've decided is the most important place to be introduced to each type because it's the place of inspiration. It's the place of energy and excitement, the place where you experience a type in a way that you want to be that type. And it doesn't exist in the literature and a lot of what's been spoken about regarding the Enneagram. And I feel like it's the most powerful initial place to experience each type.
Another thing that we're up to is really trying to combat so much of what people experience in behaviors, and all personalities can exhibit all types of behaviors, but they're driven from a different place. It's really the essence that underpins this person's existence. So let's get into the core brilliance of the type 7.
Sevens teach us ultimately about joy and freedom, that there is an expansiveness and a limitlessness where there's no bounds. There is an openness to explore and an invitation to engage all that is without restriction. And this is a wild place. It's an invitation to go where no man has gone before, no woman has gone before. The places that haven't been discovered yet, that haven't been transversed, a place that hasn't been driven through or walked through or ridden through or flown through, right? Or whatever the future might bring in terms of a vehicle of getting to some new place. And this is a really special place in terms of freedom. And then joy, they're the joy makers. They're the ones who can create joy and pleasure from nothing. They can locate it and instigate it and reveal certain things that are fun and interesting and the places that light you up and excite you and provide joy to the soul, and to give those places of awe, to sit with wonder. Sevens are awesome at realizing all of the wonderful things in the world. With this, they're able to experience possibility and potential like no other type. Joy and freedom are the regenerative qualities that provide energy and movement and creativity and imagination, all of the energy that's required to engage new places and to charge the internal places of curiosity. It takes a lot of energy to remain curious in a way. It takes a lot of energy to be explorers and to be unafraid. Sevens also teach us about resiliency, which is a part of being regenerative. Sevens can experience all kinds of obstacles and all kinds of elements of the world and humans and circumstances, and they can flow through them and recover and find new places to explore and new avenues to take. They're not easily stopped by circumstance or any kind of elements that the universe might throw at them. So there's this part of resiliency that's regenerative. And their ability to play. Their imagination is super expansive.
Some of my best friends are sevens, and I love spending time with them. They're so fun. They're so positive. There's always something happening, something up next. The part that I want to comment on that you spoke of that actually gave me goosebumps, though, was the awe. I think there's a childlike ability to see the world through this. You mentioned limitless possibilities, and it really is the imaginative state that I think compels and propels them to continue to discover and explore. And there's a lot of hopefulness too, optimism or idealism in the circumstances that they either place themselves in or create around them.
The ability that sevens have to play the fool, the ability to be silly, to be absurd, to take things to the limits in order to experience what's there. The hilarity or the profane. Sevens are not afraid of pushing beyond the limits of what is typically acceptable or typically experienced in order to see what's there. And to play with those spaces in order to see what might emerge. And so a lot of sevens traffic in emergent experiences and also are very experimental, open-mindedly experimenting with things that many of us might say are out there and don't have much value. Sevens see everything having some value and are able to engage it in ways that are as a form of experimentation and exploration, where they're not so serious about it. So this is another quality of sevens too at their core, is their ability to be lighthearted, their ability to have levity, their ability to move through the world without so much seriousness. That, come on, guys, it doesn't have to be so bad. We don't have to be so serious about this. Come on, we can have some fun. Follow me. I'll show you how. So this is what sevens provide the rest of us, is a way to experience joy and fun and play. And in that, there's a whole different kind of freedom. And in that freedom and joy, the combination and the energy of freedom and joy is very regenerative. It revives the soul when we can experience joy and freedom together. And so these are some of the most brilliant spaces of sevens that are so necessary for us as humans to thrive, not just survive. And so what are the qualities of regeneration? It's play, imagination, speed, and speed comes in forms of recovery. And this is something that is definitely squarely landed in the seven space, which is the ability to recover quickly, which is the kind of resiliency that is attached to regeneration, and the ability to move quickly, the ability to be flexible, to come up with new ideas, reroute, and have spontaneity. All of these are qualities that require a lot of energy and momentary action and speed. And these are a lot of their gifts. And in combination, it all adds up to regeneration. Right alongside that is what their existential job in the world is, to be joy makers, to make joy for themselves and for others, which is relieving the suffering and pain of others. And then freedom, that we are expansively free, that we aren't limited, and that the rules don't usually apply, that we can create new rules, that we can go places that no man has gone before. No woman has gone before. This is really what sevens teach us. They're the ultimate explorers. They're the ultimate adventurers. They have a high tolerance for risk, high tolerance for uncertainty. They tend to flourish in chaos. They don't mind change. They prefer a high turnover, lots of change. And that's in their insatiable desire for variety. And really also kind of underneath these places is that's tied to regeneration that I want to try to capture here, is their ability to cooperate with actuality, their ability to cooperate with what is real. So all of the elements of their exploration, the things that they are collecting and absorbing, that they can work with, that become places of partnership in terms of locating new places to experience, new places to explore, and different kinds of experimentation.
When I think of sevens and the experiences I have with them, it's like Energizer Bunny, bounce back on to the next thing. But the depth that you bring to this conversation in terms of what's actually happening and how it's more than having a jam-packed schedule full of really fun stuff and being a person that kind of the sunshine sort of follows around, right? Like that's their nature. So when you talk about exploration, it's not physically just going and traveling, which maybe they love to do and having change, but there's actually an exploration on a much deeper level.
The exploration is open and limitless. So sevens at their best, there are no restrictions. There are no limitations on their gifts and their talents and the access that sevens have to the world and to all that's in it. And one of the qualities that is involved in this is their ability to absorb enormous amount of information and experience. Now, here we might make a distinction between absorption, metabolizing, and assimilation, right? So metabolizing, I would say, kind of belongs to the fives. And when sevens integrate to fives, they also have this metabolization, which is processing. And then assimilation really belongs to threes, which is an incorporation, ability to incorporate that. But what sevens are most amazing at is their ability to absorb, and the amount of information and experiences and variety and in which they can absorb and experience in their own humanity and in their environment, in their desire and ability to experience multiple things simultaneously. Most humans get overwhelmed very easily. And it doesn't mean that sevens can't. I'm just saying at their best, they're able to take in the world and take in experiences. This tends to be focused on the external world or in concepts. One of the things that sevens are not super focused on is in the area of emotions. But at their best, they can live into all of the spaces of experience, and they can do it in a certain kind of simultaneity that is exceptionally rare for humans to be able to do. And so they have this preference and a drive to experience all the things possible. And ultimately that accumulated experience gives them enormous amount of insight and ability and skill to navigate the world in very different ways. And it's why they're also located as, the innovator types. They're very future minded in all of the qualities of seven kind of come together in this future minded places where they're anticipating the future and what could be. They are centered around and oriented around possibility and potential and the good that is yet to be experienced or yet to be discovered or not quite known. And so that orientation around this kind of human potential and also the potential of the universe gives them these qualities of ability to handle high risk, ability to handle lots of uncertainty, and chaos and change, and to experience things quickly and then to spontaneously adjust. So sevens also have the amazing quality of an adaptability, which is again tied to resiliency.
I'm so glad we have this type that's literally designed to bring joy into the world. Like our world would be such a lesser place if we didn't have sevens running around dreaming up what's possible and envisioning the limitless bounds of what the human existence can be in the little moments, but also in the big moments.
It's really powerful when sevens can use their imagination and their spontaneity and their willingness to play and experiment to bring new ideas and possibilities, as well as just fun. They make everything more fun. And so, and a lot of sevens at their best, are designed to have even the most difficult things in life be fun.
I think the ability to not take anything for granted and to see everything for the potential that it has feeds the gratitude, which then the cycle leads back to joy, right? We know that those are linked, joy and gratitude. And so it's almost like a regenerative cycle within themselves where they're constantly feeding more of that production of joy by seeing and having gratitude for the awe and wonder in everything around them.
It's a strange kind of transportation that sevens are able to provide. They're able to somehow be a vehicle that makes anything more fun, no matter how uninspiring it might be, right? And there's also this quality in that of how they're able to locate pleasure and sparks of joy in the banal and the mundane, and to find areas where nothing is taken for granted. Sevens are amazing at their best to be able to recognize all the things and take nothing for granted, because everything they can see as an element of good and joy and fun and creates a part of our human experience. you're absolutely right that this kind of imagination and creativity in terms of dreaming and making up the future. Sevens are really good at this, and they're not the only ones. Fives and fours are incredible at imagination and dreaming up things too. But sevens spend a lot of time cultivating the imagination and dreaming the future and creating experiences for humanity that are wild and full of awe and something absolutely unexpected, and where in places where most people couldn't even imagine.
On the topic of freedom, it sounds like they're unbound by many of the things that other personality types are, whether that's rules or norms or image.
Unboundedness is a great additional word. There is this unbounded quality is absolutely true. There is no need to escape. There is nothing to escape because we are essentially free. And that kind of agency and ability to roam in the most expansive, free, limitless ways. That's what sevens teach us. And that all of the qualities necessary in order to adapt to, whatever might be presented to us. Sevens teach us how to adapt to that there's no fear in whatever might come, that we're able to adjust and adapt to whatever that is. So there's still freedom. And that's something that sevens also is a huge brilliance, is that they can be more spontaneous and have less backup plans because they are their own backup plan. That there are no roads. When there are no roads, you don't need to have as tight plans. You just need to have all of the skills and the ability to navigate, be able to create new roads, to be able to establish new kinds of travel. And that's what makes sevens brilliant in the spaces of innovation, particularly, and also in the spaces of exploration.
We know freedom exists within our minds. And so when you're talking about their own backup plan, regardless of circumstances, they can find this essence of freedom because they embody it through the way that they think and interpret the world. But I'm also hearing in terms of exploration, I can almost picture someone like charting a new course, whether that's across the unexplored ocean or through a field. But there's this sense of like, come on, follow me. So they also have some quality where there's an invitation, it seems like. There's a charisma, an energetic invitation for others to come beside them.
Sevens absolutely create invitations to follow them, and it's less obviously dominant. We talked about the 5 moving to both 7 and 8, and there are different qualities of domination. Not all domination is experienced the same way. And 8s, as we've discussed, is more obviously dominating. 7s is a little less obvious because it's more playful. It's more fun. It's more free. 7s aren't interested really in controlling too much. At their best, they're interested in giving everyone the same freedom that they feel, giving everyone the same freedom they experience in order to discover on their own, in order to bring those discoveries and their experiences back and to include those and to move forward together, right? So at their best, 7s have no need to control others or to fight others. Everyone is ultimately free to go their own way and to bring what they will. And that is a beautiful invitation. And it's not just an invitation. They can actually create this. And that is typically their leadership style, is to invite others into the exploration and into the limitlessness, and also help others navigate uncertainty, chaos, change, and learn this kind of deep resiliency.
What are the core fears and core drives of the type 7?
Yeah, it's important that if this is the only episode anyone listens to get to your core type, it's really based on 3 elements: the core brilliance, which we just talked about, and then also the core fear and the core drive. And the core fear of 7 is to be trapped in pain and to be left in a feeling of deprivation where there's nothing and not enough needs are met, right? There's this deprivation. And then the core drive is the opposite, where there is joy and freedom. And freedom is the opposite of being trapped, right? And these things equal a certain satisfaction and fulfillment that 7s are after. So that's the core drive.
We'd love to engage with you if you're interested in learning more about the Enneagram or would like to work together. So you can find our link in our show notes.